lineup. Lewis Hill is the captain. They're also playing Nat Bowley, Bjorn Hendricks, Louis Kimber, Aaron Lilly, Vian Mulder, Rishi Patel, Tom Scriven making his debut for the Foxes, Harry Swindells, Nick Welsh and Chris Wright. As I say, they won the toss, chose to bowl first. Chris Wright has conceded 2 boundaries off his first over, so Surrey, after 1 over of their 50 over innings, are 8 without loss. You missed just one delivery if you were listening, watching on stream, which Geddes played at for the first time and missed. So there was a little bit of something extra there. He was tempted into trying flaying it away through the offside, didn't get anything on it, and taken low down by Scriven. The wicket does look a little green, and there is a little bit of bounce there, but doesn't look to be a massive amount of pace. Par, I'm told, around here for 50 overs will be about 320. Bjorn Hendricks is in from the pavilion end that is turned off his hip by Ryan Patel, but only as far as the man on the 45, who is Chris Wright. The 2 men out are at deep square, slightly backward of square, and third man in front of some of the hospitality marquees down there at the railway end for the Foxes. Getting used to this kit. It's very bright, that's for sure. Hendricks, big left armour from South Africa, runs in and bowls. That's a decent shot for leg before he's gone. Patel has gone, and it was a foolish delivery. He pushed at it. It was on off stump. Wasn't too much bounce. Thought about it for a while. Umpire who was at this end, Ben Debenham, and having thought about it, decided it was going to go on and hit off stump. And Hendricks has a wicket. That is a huge boost for the South African overseas player. He struggled a little bit this season. Started off in Leicestershire's first team, of course, but didn't make the impact that he hoped to make, and hasn't played really since the first, I think it was 4 or 5 games of the season. But he's made an immediate impact. It was foolish. It was on off stump. Didn't do too much. Might just have come back in a fraction. And he was going on to hit off stump. So big breakthrough for Leicestershire. Patel, a destructive batsman, goes without scoring, and Surrey are 8 for 1. His replacement, Ryan Patel, is a man very familiar to some Leicester supporters. Cameron Steele, formerly of Durham, of course. He's very familiar to Leicester supporters because he made his highest first-class score against the Foxes. That was at Grace Road back in 2017, I think it was now. So 5 years ago, best part thereof. He made 224 that day. I remember because he's obviously American-born, Cameron Steele, and his parents were there. I'll be hoping to bat with similar success today. That's a huge boost for Hendricks' confidence, you would think. Big left armour, turns, runs in and bowls to Steele. Good bouncer. He's edged it, I think. They're peeling for the catch. No, he hasn't edged it. It came off his forearm, it would appear. He looks down at his forearm. It was banged in by Hendricks. It sat up. Looks a little bit too paced, this wicket. Hit him on the forearm and looped through to Swindells. Did not hit him on the glove. Almost 2 and 2 for Hendricks. 8 for 1, sorry. Good crowd in there, a sellout crowd in fact. Numbers, as I say, are slightly limited by the capacity. In goes Hendricks and bowls straight, and on the back foot, slightly short of a length delivery. Steele is defending out into the offside. Hill, Leicestershire's captain in the Royal London Cup in 50 over cricket, runs in and fields from mid-off. Sporting a big sort of sweatband type bandage on his right forearm, Bjorn Hendricks. Turns, tosses the ball from hand to hand. Very calm of demeanour. nice man to talk to. Bjorn Hendricks runs in and bowls fuller and clipped away nicely by Steele. It was a leg stump half volley, just waited for it. Lofted it, it was in the air as it went through mid-wicket, but no chance at all for either Mulder, who is at a straightish mid-wicket, or Nick Welsh, who was just in front of square. It was a pretty safe shot from Steele. So the third boundary of the innings. Surrey proceeding at the moment solely in boundaries. They are 12 for 1. 8 to Geddes, 4 now to Steele. First runs conceded by Bjorn Hendricks, who turns. Pounds in rather and bowls slightly short of a length, just outside off stump, up on his toes is Steele, allowing it to go through to Harry Swindles behind the stumps. End of the second over. Good one as far as Hendricks and Leicestershire are concerned, because they picked up a wicket, and a dangerous wicket at that, in Ryan Patel, LBW, without scoring. Of traffic going down the Woodbridge Road away to our right. We're on top of the pavilion here in Guildford. Apologies if you're picking up the occasional sound of drilling. They're doing some work in the garden of what used to be the groundsman's house here at Guildford. In goes right and bowls, goes past the outside edge of Geddes' bat. I think it was a little outswing. Geddes did drop his hands, and he may just have deliberately let that one go through, but perilously close to the outside edge nonetheless. A little bit of movement there, a little bit of something there for right, as you would hope early on with the new ball. White, though it is, it won't last very long, but keeping the two slips in understandably. He is in and bowls much straighter this time. Geddes covers up, blocks it back down the pitch on the onside. Mulder, another South African, Leicestershire's other South African overseas player this season, moves across to his left at mid-on and fields. In outstanding form with the bat, Vian Mulder, in the county championship of late. Leicestershire hoping he takes that form into a white ball game. In goes right and bowls on the off stump. Stays on the back foot. Geddes plays with an angle bat defensively out towards backward point. No run. Tom Scriven, the fielder, making his debut. Young all-rounder. He's impressed for the second team, getting his chance in the Royal London Cup. Right is in against the breeze and bowls, and again back foot defensive shot on the off stump from Geddes. Treadwell's coming out and having a look at Wright's follow through. As I say, the pitch does look a fraction soft, perhaps, which is a little bit surprising given how little rain that there has been. Wright turns, straightish run, bowls, and turned off his legs nicely by Geddes. Work to do for Louis Kimber, running around the boundary from mid-wicket down towards backward square. Does that work, picks it up and gets his throw away, but a comfortable two really for Geddes, who moves into double figures on to 10-14 for 1. Pleasant ripple of applause from the stand there. I think the River Way is behind the ground, on that side of the ground. Trying to work out my north, south, easts and wests here, as Wright is in grunt of best fitted. His bowls on off stump. Geddes stays on the back foot, plays it firmly off the back foot, but only as far as Hill at mid-off. End of the over, the third of the Surrey innings. 14 for 1 is the score. 4 to Cameron Steele and 10 to Ben Geddes. Hill talks to Hendricks, who is telling his long leg to come up, and he's decided to send Nick Welsh back from in front of square to the deep square boundary. So it's deep square and third man out on the boundary for Hendricks as he runs in and bowls to Steele, pushes it across him. Steele keeps his bat raised, lets it go through to Swindles behind the stumps. No run. I think they had to reduce the capacity here by 1,000 or so after Ryan Patel peppered the crowd last season, particularly square of the wicket. So there's no seats now, sort of square of the wicket on the Woodbridge Road side of the ground, and little fences up to prevent people walking down there. In goes Hendricks, bowls, goes past the outside edge of Steele's bat with a good delivery. It might just have seamed away a little bit from the former Durham man. Bounce and movement, a little bit, just enough, went past the outside edge. Good start this by Hendricks. Pleased to say that the stream is now up and running and live, and pretty good pictures they are as well. Hendricks turns, big man runs in and bowls, and there's a half shout for leg before. It's a full shout from Rishi Patel, who will shout for anything from first slip, but Hendricks, although it did come back in a little bit and catch Steele on the back pad, did pitch outside leg, so no chance of the appeal, or an appeal being answered in the affirmative by umpire Debenham. Hendricks began to turn but knew straight away there was no point continuing. But again, finding a good line and length, runs in and bowls to Steele, who flashes outside off stump and misses again. So this is good from Hendricks. Drew Steele into the shot, minimal foot movement, went through with the flashing drive anyway, and it bounced over the top of his bat. A few gestures being exchanged between Ben Geddes and Cameron Steele. Geddes, the skipper, not looking particularly impressed. Steele saying, well, he was out there, I was going to go for it. In goes Hendricks and bowls. Good lifting delivery that he fends at and doesn't get anything on it, and taken two-handed round about head high by Harry Swindles behind the stumps. This has been a really good over from Bjorn Hendricks. Fields obviously has something of a point to prove, just 4 wickets in the county championship before being left out of the side. But several of the Leicestershire players made the point that he didn't enjoy much luck, certainly in his sort of early spells. Runs in and bowls to Steele, who has to defend. A good straight delivery on middle and off, drops it out into the offside end of the over. A maiden over from Bjorn Hendricks, so really good start from the big South African, who did play a test against England, took 5 wickets in an innings in it, and he's getting the congratulation of his Leicestershire teammates at the moment. 14 for 1, Surrey, after 4 overs. Right, to continue from the railway end. In he comes and bowls. Geddes pulls, doesn't really get all of it, didn't get up quite as much as he thought he was going to, managed to get it away through square leg. Louis Kimber, the fielder down there. I'm informed that the Kimber family have come down to watch Louis and Nick in opposition. And I understand it'll be for the first time for their respective, well, obviously certainly for their respective counties, but also presumably through school as well. In goes right and bowls, this time Steele facing right for the first time, defends on the back foot, barks no as he blocks it back down towards Vihan Mulder at mid-on. No run. Swing in the first couple of overs for Chris Wright, not so much the first 2 deliveries of this, his 3rd over. Runs in and bowls full. Steele drives hard down into the ground, but it bounces up quite nicely for extra cover. Nick Welsh to make the stop. Then out deep square, just in front of square. and third man Bjorn Hendricks in front of a bank of seats down there, those white plastic bucket seats. Wright is in and bowls on off stump. Again, you heard the call of no from Steele as he blocked it with an angled bat down towards backward point. Scriven is the fielder there, sporting the number 88 on his back. I'll have to find out what that means to him, if anything, why he's chosen it. Traffic constant on Woodbridge Road. A huge fence on that side of the ground that is at least 30 feet high. In goes Wright and bowls, going for the big straight hit. Doesn't get anything on it. Steele there thumps into the pads outside off, but just at the moment Cameron Steele, the one boundary aside, struggling to get bat on ball, frankly, at the moment. Certainly in the previous over from Hendricks, and there again against Wright. There's a little few drops of rain in the air. There's a little dark cloud around, but it's not forecast to rain. In goes Wright and bowls, and he's going to pick up a run. Cameron Steele there as he turns it away with an angle bat down through the gully area, the vacant gully area, down towards Bjorn Hendricks, who gets his throw away to Harry Swindles. Steele takes his single and keeps the strike. Aaron Lilly runs from second slip to take Hendricks' cap to save him running to the umpire, Ben Debenham. Hill tosses the ball to Hendricks, number 18 on his back. Longish run. Charges in and bowls to Steele, fullish, and Steele is looking to work it on the onside, not entirely convincingly. Thick inside part of the bat, sees it run out to Vian Mulder. There is that big gap at mid-wicket now because Welsh, who is the outrider, is very much a deep square, so they're saying, yeah, you try and hit across the line to Cameron Steele. He'd clipped that first fullish, well, it was half volley really, out through mid-wicket. Since then, Hendricks hasn't bowled him any. Famous last words. He is in and bowls, goes past the outside edge again. Steele, beautiful line from Hendricks, just outside off stump. Had to play at it, or felt he had to play at it, and it just missed the outside edge through to Swindles. Good stuff this from Hendricks. Forgive me if there's just a slight element of surprise in my voice. It's not something we're used to seeing. 2.3 overs, 1 for 4 for Big Hendricks. Big Buren at the moment runs away from the pavilion and bowls short, a bouncer just over the shoulder of Cameron Steele. 1 for the over, says Ben Debenham. Wasn't the straightest of bouncers, so he could just lean away from it, so to speak, let it go over his left shoulder. Swung a little bit on the way through to Swindles, who took it away to his left. No run. Hendricks turns, runs in and bowls in the air. It's sliced away by Cameron Steele, but he's got it wide of backward point and out to the boundary for 4. Not convincing, but he got plenty of it. It was in the air for a long time, and had there been a man in front of square, in front of point, there is a man in front of point, Louis Kimber's there, but it went between him and the man at backward point, so to speak. A little bit fortunate for Cameron Steele. He moves on to 9, for 1 as Hendricks turns, runs in and bowls and goes past the outside edge. Has he got the edge? He has. Beautiful delivery from Hendricks. He went to clip it away on the leg side. It took the outside edge. It was foolish, but it was pushed across. It might just have seemed a little bit. Took the outside edge, taken by Swindles, and Hendricks has got his man. He had struggled, Cameron Steele, did get that last one away for 4, but it wasn't convincing, and nor was that shot, looking to clip him away on the leg side, and took the outside edge, and Hendricks has 2, and Surrey in the 6th over now are 20 for 2. Blake is the replacement batsman for Cameron Steele. Walks off with head down. It was a struggle for him out there. His 9 came off 20 balls. He hit 2 4s, but he played and missed at an awful lot of deliveries as well. And a second wicket for Bjorn Hendricks. 2 for 8 from 2.5 overs. For the big man. Geddes can't get on strike. He'll be frustrated at the moment because he's looked pretty good out there. Off 13 for him. So Blake, left-hander, offers a different challenge, and Hendricks is going to have 3 slips to him as he runs in for the final delivery of his 3rd over. Bowls on the back foot, a little bit late on it, defending it is Blake, drops it down at his feet, just behind his feet in fact, and it trickles down, bounces a couple of times towards that 3rd slip. End of the over, another successful one for Bjorn Hendricks. 2 for 8 from 3 overs for Hendricks, and Surrey, after 6 overs, just struggling a little bit. They're 20 for 2. Hendricks is 32 now. Experienced 8 one-day internationals and 19 T20 internationals to his name. Chris Wright is in from the pavilion and bowls full, driven out into the offside. He's going to have to hurry Geddes there as moving to his left. Hill fields and shies at the stumps. I think he would have made his ground anyway. The throw missed anyway, but took on Hill. He knew it was going well to Hill's left. Hill had to run away to his left field, but Geddes did have to get a little bit of a hurry up on there. Brings Josh Blake on strike. Goes right and bowls to him. He has a feel for an outside off stump there. It was not a nothing delivery, but it was wide enough for him to leave Blake, but a slightly nervous prod from young Josh Blake, understandably, given he's making his first team debut, I believe. That is right. The breeze gets up again, comes in and bowls to him, and he goes feeling for one again outside off stump, and that one does go past the outside edge again. Did move a little bit on that occasion, but again a very nervous looking push from Josh Blake. Needs to just get through this. Is in and bowls straighter this time. Blake behind that one solidly enough, pushing it firmly away off stump. It was a little bit of an in-swinger from right, trying to get it back inside the young left-hander's guard. Managed to push it out towards mid-off. Took a exploratory step or two down the wicket, thought there might be something in it. A run might be in it. Looks around him, sees a wide third man and a long leg. Everybody else saving one, aside from the two slips, and the wicketkeeper, of course, right, is in, goes past the outside edge, and there's an appeal for a catch behind from Ryan Patel, but that one seamed away and beat Blake all ends up. Yes, righty, shouts Louis Kimber from third man. Ian Mulder has a word with the very experienced Chris Wright. Might not necessarily have expected to play in this competition. He is in and bowls. That's pushed away into the onside by Josh Blake, and he is off the mark. The youngster pushed it wide of Lewis Hill. Had to run across from mid-off towards mid-wicket. Nick Welsh couldn't get there either, running across from a wide-ish mid-wicket. And Blake picks up one, keeps a strike, which might not necessarily be the best thing as far as Surrey are concerned just at the moment. The skipper cannot get on strike. Ben Geddes, 12 off 14 balls for him. I'm sure he's got plenty of confidence in his teammates, but certainly has looked the most comfortable batter out there to date. 22 for 2 off 7 for Surrey as Hendricks turns. Runs in and bowls. Lovely looking drive from Blake, getting almost to the pitch of it, hits it hard down into the ground, but it's picked out the man in the covers, who's Nick Welsh, who makes the stop, and there's no run. A little bit unlucky for Blake, who walks away towards short leg, adjusts his pads, but he'll feel better for getting that one in the middle of the bat. Hendricks tosses the ball from hand to hand. Looks back at the pavilion, turns, runs in and bowls, goes past the outside edge with a quickish delivery that might just have left him off the seam a fraction there. And again, somewhat tentative from Blake, didn't find the outside edge. Might not be far away though. Hendricks looking very much like an international class bowler at the moment. Turns, sees that Mulder wasn't back in his position at mid-off, has to pause. Now he comes running in and bowls on off stump. Blake defends, leaning forward into that one. You heard the call of no as he dropped it out into the offside. Nick Welsh, Zimbabwe born, Nick Welsh, product of Loughborough. Runs into field. Impressed in the T20s, Nick Welsh, when he got in the side towards the end. Leicestershire won their last 5 games in the T20 competition and would have qualified, as Leicestershire fans know too well. Update for BBC Radio Leicester. And they've started very well, the Foxes, in particular Bure and Hendricks, who's picked up 2 Surrey wickets. Leicestershire won the toss, chose to bat first, and they've reduced Surrey to 23 for 2. The 2 men out, Ryan Patel, leg before wicket, 2 Hendricks, without scoring, just the second ball he faced, a foolish delivery on off stump. Then Cameron Steele, who once made a 200 against Leicestershire when he was playing for Durham. That was a while ago now. Only 9 this time. He was caught behind by wicketkeeper Harry Swindles, again off the bowling of Hendricks, 20 for 2 at that stage. The Surrey skipper Ben Geddes is 12 not out. He's been joined by debutant Josh Blake, who is on 2, but at the moment Leicestershire on top with Surrey 23 for 2. Hendricks bowls to Geddes, who drops it down into the offside. Tall young man, Ben Geddes. Epsom born, 21 I think. Need Churchill to arrive to confirm all these slightly tentative stats. Helicopter heads overhead. Haven't seen any trains go across the railway bridge as yet, which is away behind some of the hospitality marquees around this ground. Still quite green. They've managed to keep it well watered. Round the wicket goes Hendricks, bowls. Oh, goes straight through Geddes and misses leg stump by a fraction. Tried to whip it away through the leg side, missed it, and it went between the stumps and the batter. Goodness me, that was close. He survives. 23 for 2 after 8. Surrey. Hendricks continuing to cause all sorts of problems. 2 for 9 from 4 overs. It must be a tricky one for Lewis Hill. How many overs does he give Bjorn Hendricks? He's keep him going, to be quite honest. Don't know whether they have plans in that respect, Leicestershire, but he's in a lovely rhythm and causing all the Surrey batters problems at the moment. Right, 2 after that first over when he conceded 2 boundaries, has settled into a good line and length. Bowls, goes past the outside edge of Blake's bat, lent forward on off stump. Didn't seem away, but he was drawn into playing. Didn't get an edge, fortunate not to do so. These 2 Leicestershire opening bowlers, highly experienced opening bowlers, it has to be said. But they're enjoying bowling on this pitch. I'm sure Chris Wright has played here before. Hendricks certainly hasn't. In goes Wright and bowls straighter this time. Blake covers up, pushes it back down the pitch to Wright, who uses his left hand as he reaches down to try and flick the ball onto the stumps. Doesn't manage it by quite a long way. Mulder, Bjorn Mulder at mid-off. Tidies up behind him, then tosses the ball to Wright. Blake moves into position. Waits as Wright is in. He drives pleasantly and he's got that one away through point for 4. Just in front of point. It was full enough to get on top of the bounce, and the young left-hander did get on top of the bounce. Hit it very square away through the offside. No chance really for Scriven, who was slightly backward of point. And that went in front of point between Scriven and Louis Kimber, who is at cover. There's only about 10 yards between them, but no one behind them. Relieved applause from the Surrey faithful as Wright is in to Blake, who's squared up by that one, thick outside edge. And it runs out into the covers, looking to play it straight back down the pitch. Again, there's that little bit of movement for Wright off this greeny, slightly slow pitch. .27 for 2. The 9th over coming down. 10 over power plays in the Royal London Cup. The first one anyway. In goes Wright, bowls fullish again, looking to drive but not really putting his weight into the shot there. Blake steering it really rather than driving it out towards mid-off where Mulder is the fielder. There is no run. You can tweet me if you wish at Foxes Cricket 22, Foxes Cricket 22. And well, you can store up some tweets for Churchill at Back and Across if you wish as well. In goes Wright, bowls just outside of stump, played on the back foot by Blake out towards backward point. Scriven moves across to his right, fields at the second attempt, and there is no run. End of the 9th over, 27 for 2 is the score. Be interesting to see if Leicestershire do make a change at either end after the power play, but at the moment the 2 opening bowlers pretty much on top. A much changed lineup. Leicestershire missing 4 to the 100. Colin Ackerman, Callum Parkinson, so that's the T20 and first class skipper, plus Rehan Ahmed, the young leg spinner, and the all-rounder Ben Mike. Round the wicket goes Hendricks to bowl to Geddes, slightly short of a length. The Surrey skipper stays on the back foot, defends that one down into the offside, just bounces away behind square. Surrey, of course, missing pretty much their full starting 11, really. In goes Hendricks and bowls again on off stump, again slightly short of a length. Again, Geddes stays on the back foot and defends out into the offside behind square. Again, there's no run. Nat Bowley, the fielder there, he too making his first team debut. Young, very tall and slim off spinner for Leicestershire, claps his hands together. He'll have his 10 overs to bowl. Later, Vian Mulder starting to do a few warm-ups as Hendricks is in, goes past the outside edge with a full delivery that drew Geddes into a drive. It moved away from him. Lovely delivery from Hendricks, who is bowling as well as I've seen him bowl for Leicestershire. Obviously, the first time I've seen him with the white ball in hand. Wasn't a member of the T20 setup. For the Foxes. Proving his worth at the moment though. Runs in and bowls to Geddes, short of a length, cut away. First poor ball from Hendricks. Geddes got up on his toes as it sat up outside off stump, steered it away through point for 4. Nice shot from Ben Geddes, and Hendricks was sort of turning as he delivered, or almost when he saw where it had pitched, knowing that that one was not the delivery that he was hoping to bowl. Geddes moves on to 16, his 3rd boundary. Nice shot. 31 for 2. Hendricks turns, runs in and bowls edged. Oh, and it's gone through 3rd slip down to the 3rd man boundary, right off the shoulder of the bat, and it looped in the air. No chance for Aaron Lilly at 2nd slip to get across. Probably went through about 4th slip in the end, but it bounced on Geddes, took the shoulder of the bat. Could easily have gone 2 slip, and so looped through the air at a very comfortable catching height. But it was wide of Lilly, well wide of him, and down to 3rd man it went for a single. Escape of kinds for Geddes there. He moves on to 17, 32 for 2. Hendricks back over the wicket to the left-handed Blake. In he goes and bowls very straight. Blake covers up, slightly turns the bat face, closes the bat face on the defensive shot, pushing it out into the onside. End of the over, end of the 10th over that is. 32 for 2, the Surrey score. Not quite the start they would have wanted, but there has been movement there for both the Leicestershire bowlers. Wright looks like he's going to continue from the railway end. He is. None for 18 for Chris Wright from his 5. 2 for 14 for Bjorn Hendricks from his 5. Just the 1 slip though now for Wright to Geddes. He's standing quite wide, Rishi Patel. A little bit more cover out in the off side. Wright is in, goes past the outside edge of Geddes' bat. So he's a big man, and he went hard at his defensive shot, so to speak there. Didn't need to play at it, did so. And it went through to Swindles behind the stumps. Rishi Patel standing sort of about a slip and a half away. As I say that, he takes half a step closer to Swindles. Wright is in to Geddes, who's taking his bottom hand off the bat as he fends that one away off his hip down towards square leg. Lilly, who'd come out of 2nd slip into the onside, runs across from mid wicket to field, and the single is taken. Geddes moves on to 18, 33 for 2. Hill and Wright in conversation. What field are they going to set for the young left-hander Blake? They're going to stay with one slip rather than two. They are. Patel. It's a little bit more cover for right. He has a mid-wicket on the boundary. Long leg, third man, and a cover. In he goes and bowls to Blake, who leans forward into a solid defensive push, plays it hard down into the ground. It bounces high out towards point. Scriven runs across to his left to field, takes it on the bounce cleanly. Mulder at mid-off bowls a loosening delivery to Hill, who's at mid-on. Blake beginning to look a little bit more comfortable out there. He's on 6 at the moment as right is in. Bowls to him short, pulled in the air, but it's going to be short of mid-wicket on the one bounce, taken out there by Nick Welsh, running across to his right. Wasn't a full-blooded hook. He was trying to make sure. It was as well, perhaps it wasn't. Might have top-edged it to Welsh. Tried to retain some control. It was in the air for a long time, but bounced probably about 6 or 7 yards short of Welsh as he ran across to his right to field. Blake moves on to 7. Welsh comes in to extra cover for the right-handed Geddes. Right hair flopping is in and bowls fullish on towards middle and leg, looking to drive off the back foot is Geddes, not really timing it or hitting it as crisply or as cleanly as he would like, which means that Mulder can get across from mid-on to field, and does. You can see an ice cream van alongside the hospitality marquees at the railway end. Fire engine goes down Woodbridge Road towards the town centre as right is in and looking to drive, taking his bottom hand off the bat there, Geddes, because it was straight, came back in at him a little bit. He thought it was going to be outside off stump to crunch away through the offside, came back in and odd sort of shot, took his bottom hand off the bat, went through with the swing of the bat, thick inside edge, and it trickled back down the pitch towards Chris Wright. End of the over, the end of his 6th over, the 11th over of the Surrey innings. 34 for 2 is the score. 18 to Ben Geddes. 7 to Josh Blake. Good morning to Simon Kemp, who is a big exiled Surrey cricket fan. Big, exiled Surrey cricket fan. He doesn't mean he's big. He said he played for their cult side in the 70s, now living in Melton Mowbray in our neck of the woods. Yes, he says, a development competition, but bear in mind Surrey missing 19 first-stroke second-teamers, Leicestershire only 4. Outside off stump from Mulder, driving is Blake, and again he is missing. Wasn't really there to be driven. That didn't do too much. It was a sort of 6 inches, 8 inches outside off stump, but it wasn't at the pitch of it. He went through with the shot, missed it. Mulder 2, just the single slip. Rishi Patel, who is now standing pretty much at second. Mulder pushing it across the left-hander. Turns, runs in and bowls, thumps into the pad of Blake, who has slipped. If the throw hits, he's gone. It missed. He went down the pitch, slipped, fell over, was completely stranded. Mulder picked it up at a roundabout short leg, just in front of short leg. He was on his knees, his throw just had to hit, he steadied himself on his knees, threw the ball at the stumps, it bounced over them or wide of them, and Blake survives. Is that the bit of fortune he really needs? He was completely stranded there, he went down the wicket, slipped, was on his knees, was watching really as Mulder threw the ball at the stumps and missed, and then eventually made his ground. Well, you need a little bit of luck sometimes in your first innings, and that may have been it for Josh Blake, who waits as it plays at one outside off stump from Mulder as it seams away and goes through low to Harry Swindles behind the stumps. Young Blake is not enjoying himself at the moment. Walks around at the crease, just tries to compose himself a little bit. slightly open stance as he faces Mulder, who is bowling over the wicket to him and goes past the outside edge again. And that was a super delivery from Mulder because it pitched off and moved away, and he kind of had to play at it, but he's absolutely all at sea at the moment, young Josh Blake. But he's still there. That's the main thing from his and Surrey's point of view. He's on 7, desperately struggling to lay bat on ball at the moment. It is doing a bit out there, and it is not the sort of pitch perhaps he would have chosen to make his debut on. He waits, bat raised as Mulder is in, bowls to him. He steps right across his stumps and tries to work it on the leg side, and it may have bounced over the top of leg stump, but he's trying something new there, trying something a little bit different, trying to work it down perhaps to fine leg, and it missed leg stump by enough. It didn't shave leg stump, it bounced a little bit, but goodness me, it was playing with a little bit of fire again from Blake. He's still there. Mulder is in, bowls to him, works it back down the pitch. It might have been a bit of pad involved there, and it bounces back down the pitch towards Vian Mulder. And one way or another, Josh Blake has survived that over. It's 34 for 2 after 12. Played and missed at 3. Should have been run out, really. Stranded in not mid-pitch, but out of his ground. Couldn't get back in. And, well, as I say, just still there. That's the main thing. 7 off 25 deliveries for him. A maiden over from Vian Mulder. 34 for 2. Surrey after 12. Wright is going to continue from the railway end. Bowls to Geddes, seams back in, looks to work it into the leg side, doesn't get anything on it, comes back off the pad, out into the offside it goes. Picked up by Tom Scriven, and there is no run. Still got this heavy dark cloud overhead, but the wind is making sure that it is moving over quite quickly, and it's not raining. In goes Wright and bowls on the back foot. Geddes plays it firmly down into the ground. He's got it into the gap. It's between Welsh and Scriven out there at point and cover. Scriven lets Welsh do the fielding, moving across to his left, and Geddes takes 1. He moves on to 19, 35 for 2. There's no blue sky around at all, which is something of a relief as we're on top of the pavilion, but we are not under cover. So as long as it doesn't rain, probably the best sort of conditions we could hope for. Wright stays over the wicket to the young left-hander Blake. He is in and bowls. He leans forward, plays it very nicely indeed, competently. On the front foot, pushing it away through point. Scriven is at backward point.